Oh my goodness me. Will you take a look at that? My God. Let me introduce you to the ThinkPad W701DS, one of the most elusive and rarest and fucking thickest laptops I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Like, this thing is an absolute tank. Like, it will literally eat a T60. And the T60 by no means is a small laptop. By today's standards, people think that the T60, oh, this is a thick pad, this is a tank, oh my God, it's so big and enormous and bulky. And you want to say to that? Nah. The W701DS would like to have a word with you. And it would like to hit you in the head as well. Because this thing is a beast. It's over 2 inches thick, weighs about 13 pounds, and you know what I say for laptops? The bigger the better. But is this thing worth buying in the year 2021? Well, we're gonna find that out right now. So first things first, let's give you a little tour around this ThinkPad. The W701DS is quite special because it has a lot of features that were never ever carried over. Such a shame, because now, instead of having a very thick laptop, every single OEM wants to become thinner and thinner and thinner, to the point where we're gonna see this decade a laptop without USB-A. Such a tragedy, because the more ports, the more convenient. I love ports, and the W701DS does not disappoint. So right here we got 3 USB ports. Pretty good. We got modem, removable DVD drive. Yes, DVD drive is a bare minimum for me. We got a display port, VGA, DVI, Ethernet. You know, it's all inclusive right here. If it had an HDMI, oh my God, it'd be so perfect. Move over here, you got your power. This charger's actually different because this ThinkPad is super duper powerful. So the normal Lenovo charger will not suffice, unfortunately. Then over here, oh my God. Then over here, we got another fan slot. We got 2 more USB for a total of 5 USB ports. Yes, that should be the standard. I don't know why it is not the standard. Then we got a FireWire port, compact flash card reader, and a bus card expansion slot. That is literal perfection right there. You know, I never have to worry about unplugging things because 5 USB ports is the perfect amount. And on the front, oh look at here, got headphone and microphone jack. So let's set this thing up here and open this thing up. Oh yes. So this thing features a 17-inch wide display. Yes. And the display on this ThinkPad is probably the most beautiful display I have ever seen in my whole entire life. It is 1920 by 1200. It's a TN LCD display. The colors are so good on this thing. Like, watching videos on this thing and playing games on this thing is literally the best I have ever seen in my whole life. The multimedia experience on this ThinkPad cannot be beat, and I'll explain in further detail why it cannot. Alright, so I'll bring you guys a little bit closer in, as so. So, let's log in. But there are other cool things about this. Number one, we got 2 Think lights instead of 1. Yeah, that's what I like to see. Let's go down here. All right, so we got a lot to talk about. This speaker grill right here. And on a lot of ThinkPads, I'm looking at the W520, the speakers are very quiet and they sound like tin cans. Surprisingly, the speakers on here are actually really good. Yeah, I was very surprised by that. And I will be doing a demo of that later on. The keyboard though. Finally, fucking finally, a classic ThinkPad with a numpad. Yes! Yes! That cannot be underestimated. And I mean, you got your classic ThinkPad keyboard, you know, it's iconic, it is the best, and no laptop keyboard even comes close to this. It's absolute perfection right here. Like, it doesn't get any better than this, honestly. Like, when you look at laptops nowadays, the keys, they just suck. This one right here. Why doesn't Lenovo go back to this? It's so perfect in every single way. But there are some things that aren't perfect about this. Number one is the trackpad. I'm sorry, but this trackpad for a laptop this size is really, really tiny. Like, what is this? What is this? They could have easily made this trackpad like twice as big. So yeah, that's a little bit of a disappointment. But then again, you should be using the track point like a true ThinkPad user. Look at that display, look at the colors. Look at that, that's so nice. We got an integrated color calibrator right here, but I will mention some issues with that later on. Fingerprint reader, and that's for kind of like the base right here. But you've clicked on this video for one reason, and one reason alone. And also to mention, I might as well mention the specs. I know the anticipation's kind of killing people right now. Unfortunately, this ThinkPad is a lower end configuration. I'll be putting all the max specs on the screen, but I'll talk about the specs that I have. Turn these lights off. So this one's running a first gen i7 at 1.6 gigahertz. And surprisingly, that i7 still holds up very, very well doing modern everyday tasks. Has 4 gigs of RAM, and I was gonna say something along the lines like, oh, 4 gigs of RAM, it's still pretty good. Nah, it's not. You should really, really upgrade it. Conveniently enough, on the bottom of this, there's actually a RAM door. Let's see if we can point it out. Right here, if you can see that, that hosts 2 additional DIMM slots. I would recommend at least 8 gigs of RAM, but this thing can take a maximum of 16. Pretty good, I must say. It also has a NVIDIA Quadro FX 2800, and that offers about a gig of video RAM. So it goes without saying, even with a lower end configuration, for 2010, this thing was an absolute fucking beast, man. Like, for 2010, you can't get much better than this. But I've been delaying this far too long. Time for the reason you'd buy this laptop. Here we go. Here's the showstopper right here. Oh, yes. Just take a look at that. That, without a doubt, is one of the most satisfying feelings in the whole entire world. Not much even comes close to that. Now, you may be noticing right now the flicker on the display. That actually doesn't happen in real life. In real life, it looks much, much better than what you're seeing on camera right now. Camera just cannot do it justice, can it? But, yeah. So we're gonna get into a couple aspects of this thing, like multimedia, multitasking, and is it still viable in the year 2021? In terms of multimedia, just take a look at this. 2K video, 60 FPS, no stutters at all, running absolutely flawlessly on this vibrant and colorful display. My hentai has never looked better. But in all seriousness, do you really need to play 2K video on a laptop? Nah. You don't need 4K, you don't need 2K, because it's pointless. Even on a display this big, it's completely pointless. Like, I find it quite funny that all these new laptops come out and they're boasting like, oh, we can play 4K video on this tiny screen. What's the point? I don't get it. You should only be watching 4K on a massive TV. 1080p is more than enough, and you're not gonna murder your CPU in the process. Now, in terms of the sound quality, because the display may be nice, but sound matters. So I have both of these laptops on max volume right here, the W520 and W701DS. So which one sounds better? Well, let's take a listen and you can form your own opinion on that. So, in terms of multimedia, the W701DS reigns supreme, and dare I say it, it is probably the best multimedia ThinkPad ever made. Come on, the display, so amazing. The colors are so vibrant. 2K video, 60 FPS, no issue at all. The speakers, absolutely amazing. The best speakers I've ever heard on a laptop. Like the W520, it sounds like 10 speakers and they're so quiet, and it has 2 big speaker grills right on the front. Like, come on. This one cannot be beat. Oh yeah. Next is the user experience. The user experience cannot be underestimated. Unfortunately, with a lot of modern laptops, it seems like it's gone overlooked. When you use a laptop, you should not feel limited in any capacity. However, with many modern laptops, I just feel so limited when I'm doing my work. The W701DS, however, I do not feel limited at all. The W701DS is a workstation replacement. These came out during a time where the desktop started to become less and less relevant. For example, why have a big chunky desktop when you can have a laptop that can do everything it can do? For example, if I had to move that desktop over there, I'd have to move the whole tower, I'd have to move the keyboard, the mouse, the monitor. With the W701DS, I don't have to do that, and it offers the same power as a desktop. I mean, who can argue with that? Absolutely no one. And even compared to a lot of the other ThinkPads, the W701DS provides a superior user experience. It has 5 USB ports. No limitations at all. You can do a RAID configuration on this thing. Speaking of RAID, what other Lenovo laptop has a RAID configuration? The absolute mad lads, but it's just pure and utter genius at the same time. This makes this laptop so badass. You can have an SSD RAID configuration in a laptop. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It literally doesn't. And since we're looking at the underside right now, there's the RAM door I mentioned previously, but you can also have a docking station on this to make already this beast of a laptop even more beastly. Just like, oh my goodness me. There's the battery right there. And I honestly miss these days. I yearn for the days of having easily accessible DIMM slots and easily accessible hard drive bays. I yearn for those days to come back. But it will never come back, will it? Such a tragedy. Absolute disaster. Lenovo, you had something so amazing. Replicate it again. Please, please, please. Now you may be thinking, how does the second display improve the user experience? Well, I'll tell you how. But first you gotta ask yourself, why would anyone want an additional display? To have that little bit of extra screen real estate, to have more programs open at the same time, which increases productivity. Classic scenario right here. So if you work in IT, you gotta deal with a lot of lawyers and accountants, and while they may be the dumbest computer users under the sun, you know, if they're constantly clicking back and forth between programs like Excel, calculator, and constantly covering them up, that's not productive at all. And although the second display on this laptop is relatively small, any little bit of extra screen real estate helps. So here we go. Oh yeah. And now, the accountant, he doesn't have to worry about covering up his calculator. He has it visible at all times, which increases productivity, and he saves a buttload of time. You wouldn't believe how much time you save by having all programs visible at all times. My God. Here's another situation where that second display really shines. So I'm watching a video, okay? I could be watching sports or something live. Well, I want to open up a second tab. Well, now I can't see the game. Oh, wait a minute, I can just, do arrow snap. But then again, I'm only using half the screen now. Well, that's not very good. Well, get a load of this. I can do this. move that tab over here, have this at full screen, and oh my goodness me, this is absolute perfection right here. Now I can go to eBay, I can go to Amazon, I can update my anime list, I can go on Reddit, I can monitor my email, I can do anything while I'm watching a video at full screen. This is absolutely amazing. As good as the user experience is, unfortunately it's not perfect. As you know, I have Windows 8 installed on this thing, and Windows 8 does run pretty well on this. Unfortunately, there are some compatibility issues. The W701DS originally came shipped with Windows 7, and certain features only work with Windows 7, that being the integrated color calibrator. I tried running in compatibility mode, it simply will not work. And also the fingerprint reader, although Windows does detect it in the device manager, the ThinkPad software just doesn't work with it. Those aren't deal breakers for me, but it's just kind of like, With Windows 7 though, those features do work. But Windows 7, as we know, is unsupported, so your only options really is Windows 8 and Windows 10. I hate 10 even more, so that's why I'm not using it. The dual display is nice, don't get me wrong, it has its uses, but it messes up arrow snap. So I snap a window right here, that's pretty good. Well, I want to snap a window right here. Yeah, I can't do that now. So I gotta manually do it, because if I go over here, oh, well that's kind of useless. Oh my god. I mean, that's easily remedied by doing this. I can just put the display back in, just snap that on that side, and then put it back out. That's a little bit of a hassle, isn't it? For the user experience that you do get, I can definitely overlook that. Another thing that's a little bit complicated is like, I got these displays extended, and as you see, I got two different wallpapers. Normally, it wouldn't display like that. So what you gotta do for a wallpaper, for example, so let's say I just wanna set a wallpaper. Okay, so I got this image right here, set that. Well, that doesn't look very good, does it? Because it's treating this as one display. So what you gotta do is you gotta go into Paint and make a picture the same resolution as the screen, so that you can simply just press print screen, go into Paint, and then make a wallpaper just like this, where it cuts off at the second display. So I'm sure you guys have probably noticed, I definitely have to tweak Windows 8 a lot to make it good. Maybe I can make that for another video for another day, but it looks absolutely amazing on this. Like, look at the transparency. It looks so beautiful on this display. Windows 8 runs like a dream on this. But what about gaming? Alright guys, it's kind of weird to be a computer guy and not be a PC gamer. I almost never game on PC, so just bear with me a little bit. This laptop was never designed to play games to begin with. It was obviously designed for business, and to a lesser extent for like people who want to do a little bit of graphical design. Hence the graphics card in there. However, I'm going to show you one aspect where this thing truly shines. And also, obviously for 2021, this thing's not cut out for gaming. Unless if you want to play like Rocket League or Among Us or Call of Duty World at War, yeah, that'll work fine, but this thing really shines in emulation. Oh yes, just take a look at this. Alright, so hopefully you can tell, but the image quality is absolutely amazing, especially with this higher resolution on this very vibrant display. Just look at that. Absolutely amazing. I've never seen PS1 games looking this good. My goodness. Just the power of emulation. I hardly play emulators anymore, but like, this picture quality you just cannot simply get on consoles. Even with the HDMI plugged in on a PS3, it does not look nearly this good. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to mention is the battery life. The battery life is, let's just say, it's really shit. I'm lucky to get an hour out of it, but then again, what the fuck do you expect for a desktop replacement? Like, of course the battery life is not going to be good. It's not even worth mentioning, even if this is a laptop. But I'm going to mention it anyway. So now it's time for the important part. The verdict. The motherfucking verdict. Is the W701DS worth it in 2021? And the results of the verdict is... Come on now. Come on. Who are we kidding here? If you see one of these things, you fucking buy it. You don't hesitate on this shit. This shit's fucking rare, and it's good as fuck. Like, it's literally the best ThinkPad ever made. I've been kind of flip-flopping on the verdict a little bit, and I talked to a guy at work today about it, and he's just like, you know, you gotta get the dual screen variant. There's no other way around it. Because if I had the W701, just the base W701, I would constantly be feeling cheated every single day because I have the inferior version. I would sit down and feel bothered because you don't got that. And look, I'm looking at my Discord right now. You know, it comes into play. It's convenient. You can monitor your email, monitor your Discord, monitor that PS5, you know, when it's actually fucking available. And this shit's only gonna get more expensive as the years go on because this is a rare ThinkPad. Someday it's gonna cost something like $2,000. $2,000 is too much for a laptop from 2010, no matter how good it is. But then again, once the wrong people get their hands on this stuff, it's gonna cost a lot. I mean, just look at this shit, all right? Like, never in my wildest dreams would I have ever seen the T43 go for over $1,000. Is this guy fucked in the head? Like, seriously, I have pretty much this exact same laptop, except my resolution is 1400 by 1050. It's not the P variant either. And I bought mine, and I overpaid for mine, $60. Take it or leave it. Yeah. This one, most I'd pay, $60. Fuck you. And that's what's going to happen eventually if people get their hands on this laptop. They're going to try and sell it for like $3,000, so just buy it now while it's still affordable. And they come up every so often. Do it. You better fucking do it, all right? Because then people like me won't be flexing all the time. And I don't mean the flex. I don't mean to be that guy. I'm actually quite humble. And yeah, that's what it comes down to. You go big or you go home in this case. But that's all for this. So, next time on OS2 Kohai. What do I plan on doing? Well, look at this thing over here. I got this freaking Dell that acts as a network drive. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's not going to be a video. But I got this, oh my god, this Type 1161, a boxed I series. That, oh my god, it's a fucking piece of shit. And also, I got the Dream computer. Not that one right there. And I plan to put Warp 4 on it. Yeah! So, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you can find W701DS, or if you have one, put it in the comments down below. I'm always curious. And more videos about ThinkPads and OS2 coming soon.